what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Mandatory Live. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. Also follow us on our social media channels. We're at the Mandatory TKO. And wherever you find your shows, podcasts, wherever you stream them, you can find us there as well because we are on the audio side. And if you got a couple of minutes, leave a rate and review. Maybe give us a 5-star because why wouldn't you? But nonetheless, lots to get into. Gary Antuanne Russell beat Jose Valenzuela to take the WBA super lightweight title. Your thoughts on this fight? I mean, going into this, the odds were very close, but did you expect it to go down the way that it did?
Nope. Yep. I ended up okay. Let me tell y'all something. This is between family friends of the show. There's a thing like I have some voodoo attached to me, I think. There's a Bryan Jinx. The Bryan Jinx is basically there are athletes who I've interviewed, who I've done content with or whatever, and if they haven't, like, for whatever reason, this happens. This happened to Peter Quillen, among others. This happened to Curtis Stevens. Like, if I do an interview with them or if I reach out to them for an interview and they don't answer, they lose their fight. It's a weird fucking thing. I went to, when I was still in college, I wanted to interview Peter Quillen for the student newspaper. I think I've told Peter Quillen this story because we've actually connected and I've done an interview with him since, which is a fucking fascinating one, by the way. He left me on red before his fight with Danny Jacobs. And we know what happened in that fight. Curtis Stevens, I don't remember when I was trying to get at him. It might have been before the David Lemieux fight or whatever, but it was before a fight he got knocked out. So the point is, I interviewed Rayo Valenzuela, put it up on my YouTube channel, which Shantelle said I should do. He didn't repost it or anything like that, which I didn't expect, honestly. He doesn't use social media like that, blah, 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 whatever. And he got his ass fucking torched. Like, I have a long list of examples, Shantelle, of athletes who, like, they've gotten hurt after, they've lost after. There's a list somewhere that I got to find it, but there's at least like 12 athletes on this list, probably more. And after he didn't, this is going to sound stupid. This is going to sound fucking stupid, I know. But after he didn't repost it, I was like, Gary Antuanne Russell's going to beat the shit out of him. I'm going to bet on him. And I bet my money on Gary Antuanne Russell because this jinx has been following me for like 9-10 years. And Gary Antuanne Russell had the performance of the night. No one looked better than him. No one looked better than him on this card. He won every single round. He won every single minute. He destroyed Rayo Valenzuela, a fight that was purported to be a 50-50 fight beforehand, and it was going into it. And that is what Isaac Cruz, people thought he was going to do to Rayo Valenzuela. Mm-hmm. And it did not happen. Like, that's how you fight with pressure, where every time Rayo lands on him, he lands on him harder and throws a couple extra punches where, yes, he could take some of Rayo's offense, but then keep moving forward. It was like Rayo wasn't even hitting him that hard. He looked uncomfortable from the jump. Gary Antuanne Russell's performance was sensational. Like, and again, the fucking musical chairs at 140, Shantelle. We have another new champion in this weight class on a night where Subriel Matias wins by knockout and might fight Richardson Hitchens next after we get Teofimo Lopez versus Arno Barbosa announced. Like, 140, again, just shaking shit up.
Yeah, we got to get to a couple of comments as well, Brian. Foxy says, fair play to Russell. I thought Valenzuela had a chance. I thought he did as well. But I think we all kind of knew that Gary Antuanne Russell was kind of a dangerous fighter in this fight that could get it done. And I didn't expect him to annihilate him in the ring. Like, this was an embarrassing performance because the way that Gary Antuanne Russell fought, like the pressure, he was winning every round,
every second. I think I'd rather get knocked out. I think I'd rather get knocked out than get my ass whooped every round like that.
And here's a question. Actually, let's get to some more comments, and I have a question for you, Brian.
Yes.
Marlon 2631. Gary was fighting like he was down on the cards. It's true. He pretty much. It's true, yo.
That Russell family.
They're serious, yo.
Man.
Arlanda. Jose Valenzuela got super cooked. Gary did his thing. Yes, that's a couple of comments from Arlanda. Listen, I think it was one of those things for me where it was like, okay, this is the Gary Antuanne Russell we've been trying to see. Because he's had some performances in the past where I have not been impressed. But the way that he made a champion look this past Saturday, ridiculous. Like right now, because he has a belt as well, right? He's got a title. Like when we're talking about 140, we talk about it's kind of a mess. It kind of is because it's been musical chairs. Like, where would you rank Gary Antuanne Russell after seeing that performance, Brian? And you're thinking about those 4 champs. Like, where are you ranking him after that performance?
Just depends on the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like because Richardson Hitchens beat the shit out of not beat the shit, outclassed Liam Paro, who outclassed Subriel Matias and got away with a lot of holding, but outclassed Subriel Matias in Puerto Rico. And then you have on the WBO side of things, Teofimo Lopez is holding it down, but we know he's always kind of liable to have a slip up every now and again. We'll see what happens. Like if he snoozes on Arnold Barbosa at all, and this could be a matchup problem for Teofimo if he isn't careful. I would still say like pure talent, just in pure talent, Teofimo Lopez is probably the guy, quote unquote, in this weight class. But I think even that's debatable when you include Gary Antuanne Russell, because Gary Antuanne Russell uniquely, we talked about this. He didn't even deserve this title shot because it's like, yo, you lost to Alberto Puello. How are you getting another title shot? But at the same time, going into it, I was kind of like, man, he could beat Rayo Valenzuela. Like, go back and look at the show we did when this got announced. When this card got announced, I was like, man, I might bet on Gary Antuanne Russell because even though he doesn't deserve this title shot, like he's good enough to beat Jose Valenzuela. I didn't think it'd be like this, but clearly he's good enough.
What do you think went wrong for Jose Valenzuela?
Everything.
Was it just
Like
the game plan?
the
Or
fight started, Gary Antuanne Russell was in his grill. He tried to outbox him the same way he did Isaac Cruz. And yeah, Gary Antuanne Russell's he's bigger, he's a better athlete, he's stronger at this weight class than Isaac Cruz is. Like, yeah, it's just not he prepared for the fight, but I think he prepared for maybe a different type of fight. Like I don't think he expected because he had told me that he thought Gary Antuanne Russell was sloppy in the Alberto Puello fight, which he kind of was at moments. Like on the inside, he was just loud and looking like he was working, but he wasn't really landing much or whatever. But he did that against Jose Valenzuela, and he was landing. Like Alberto Puello, maybe he's craftier. I don't know what it is, but
so when you donate to the show, your comment gets put up right away. This is from Matt. I'll let you pronounce that, Brian. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to
Borgerson, I
let
think.
us know if it's right. But
Yeah.
Matt says
I don't know why you
Gary
tossed it to me there.
because I didn't want to be disrespectful and mess it up. I felt like I was going to stutter through the whole thing.
Last name
It
is
was a
not
tongue
my
twister.
background, you know. Salute to
Hey,
Matt. Let's read
I
the
don't know.
comment.
Listen, you're an author, Brian.
Gary
Okay,
Antuanne Russell. Gary Antuanne Russell. This is not untrue.
Yeah.
Gary Antuanne Russell has a lot of flaws that Rayo was just as flawed in. Russell is very robotic. Smothers were constantly very awkward form.
Very awkward.
And but you know what? Like he made it an inside fight, which is I don't think that's what Rayo wanted, and he made it his fight like from the jump. Like you watch round one again.
The pace and everything too. Like
Yes,
the pace
yes,
favored Gary Antuanne Russell, and that was the one thing that I noticed right away. And I said, if Jose Valenzuela doesn't make the adjustments, which he didn't, like where were the adjustments during this fight? And they continue on with Gary's pace. There's no way he was going to win that fight right away. So, I mean, I don't know what went wrong there with the game plan. I like that he did have his moment in beating Isaac Cruz. I thought it was great. I thought it was great for the sport. But now Gary Antuanne Russell is in there, and I think he's kind of a wild card, Brian, that could beat anybody in this division.
yeah.
And we've said that. It's just he's had performances in the past that haven't looked good, but also the Russell family was going through some things, outside of the boxing ring. But they're a boxing family. They're extremely talented, and this was the performance of the night. Like this was one of the best performances
1,000%.
so far. I think you could even argue it's one of the best performances of this year.
So far, yeah.
Yeah.
No, seriously, like to shut out a champion like that, basically. I think there was a judge, one or two judges gave one round to Rayo Valenzuela, and honestly, I don't even know where you could find it, but okay. I think also, we got another super chat from Matt.
Oh,
Thank you
thank you,
for your
Matt.
generosity. The pace was huge, but I don't think he would be able to do anything against Puello in a rematch. He threw over 900 punches and landed low 20%. So we should talk about this, Matt. Thank you for teeing us up.
Because Puello won.
Puello won his fight against Sandor Martin. Interestingly enough, wasn't at the press conference. Tejas was, but
Yeah.
whatever. He beat Sandor Martin by split decision. I don't think it should have been split, but whatever.
Which we kind of knew though, because Sandor Martin is one of those tricky fighters that when it comes to the scorecards, it might be a split decision. But I thought Puello won that fight.
It,
He should have won by unanimous decision in my opinion. But whatever.
in
I'm
the
not a judge.
arena, in the arena. I'll just say a lot of people were walking around during that fight.
That's crazy though. Maybe that's like a nerd fight for us, but I enjoyed that fight. Like that was one of the fights I was looking forward to.
Yeah, although I admittedly, like, I myself went to get something to eat
Yeah.
during that time because it was a struggle to find something. During the Telez fight
Yeah.
versus J Rock. Is it
That's when
J
I would
Rock?
have got something to
Yeah,
eat.
that no, that was when I went. I didn't come back until Alberto Puello versus Sandor Martin because the lines were so long, and they don't buy, like, they would order from a restaurant for the media so the media could actually stay in the media section, but now they just throw everyone to, like, just be with everybody else, so that it's harder to do your job. So basically you get these vouchers so that you have to use the vouchers at one of the stands to get, like, the food at Barclays Center. And the food at Barclays Center, there's less options now than there used to be because a couple of things shut down. So yeah, what I had was pretty greasy, so I'm gonna say, wasn't an early night for your boy. Anyway, Alberto Puello won, and this is who Gary Antuanne Russell wants to fight next. He said in the press conference, he's like, that's the one that he wants to get. He said even if Sandor Martin beat Alberto Puello, he wanted to fight Alberto Puello. That's how much he wants this one back. And I gotta say, um, he didn't look great in that first fight. I
Nope.
do wonder if there are going to be adjustments for this one.
There definitely will, but let's also keep in mind going into that fight, I don't think people thought Alberto Puello was going to win that fight. I remember when that fight came. I don't know if you thought he was going
I
to win
did.
that fight,
I
but
remember saying that
I was
beforehand.
I
He could
was
win that
thinking
fight.
Gary Antuanne Russell was going to win that fight because I feel like there was more cachet behind his name before Puello ended up taking that fight. And then there were the questions about Gary Antuanne Russell, but at the same time, after this performance, I think it makes that fight so much more better. Like, so
But
it makes it great.
by the way, this is an easy fight to make because PBC,
100%.
honestly, put Tank Roach 2 and Puello Russell 2 on the same card, and,
Easy.
like, we're good. Like, do
Yeah.
that and just throw in a couple other fights, and we're good. We have a card. Like, those are two rematches that are worthwhile. If you're Alberto Puello, like, what's he gonna say? No. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
take that
you're
question.
trying to get another title. You're going to unify. It's a guy you've already beaten. And honestly, in terms of, like, money, I don't know what better options is he going to have because it's not like Alberto Puello is going to get, like, a Teofimo Lopez fight. Teofimo
Mm-hmm.
Lopez fighting Arnold Barbosa. Like, what are your options at this point, right?
Yeah.
Sandor Martin was the ranked number one contender for the WBC. And then after that, you have Dalton Smith, Isaac Cruz, Lindolfo Delgado, Josh Taylor, Liam Paro, Subriel Matias, Jose Ramirez as the top 8, which is actually pretty formidable when you
It's a
compare it
very,
to other
very good top
rankings.
8, dude. That's a very good top 8.
Yeah, like, but, like, Alberto Puello versus Isaac Cruz, though, like, that's an interesting fight. Like, I don't think this is gonna
I just
happen.
take Puello all the time. I actually really like Alberto Puello. I think he's one of the most underrated boxers right now. People don't give him his credit, but he's winning fights, man.
Alberto Puello versus Isaac Cruz would be fun.
Yeah.
I think he'd win that fight
He
too.
would. He would win that fight against Isaac Cruz. I would not
But
take Isaac Cruz in that fight.
I think he'll do the rematch with Gary Antuanne Russell next. Andy Hiroka is the number one contender in WBA. I think PBC will be like, all right, move Andy. We're gonna do this, and we'll see what happens there. And then, hey, less musical chairs at 140 if that's the case.
Yeah. By the way, y'all, tomorrow we will be having a live show in the evening. I believe we've set on 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time,
Yeah.
because it is the big press conference with the fight going down in Times Square. Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez, and also Teofimo Lopez and Arnold Barbosa Jr. Crazy stacked card. It's going to be in Times Square. We're going to find out more information, and we will be doing a show tomorrow night. So make sure to come and join us, and leave your comments, hang out with us. We're going to discuss it all. We're going to probably give like some quick thoughts on the fights that will be going down. But nonetheless, Brian, do you have any final thoughts before we get up and out of here?
I'm worried about that card because if you've never been to New York and if you've never been to Times Square, that ain't the place that you want to have something free to the
Yeah.
public. You know, like New Year's Eve is always a shit show. Although less people are going to that ball drop shit than they used to.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna do that. I don't know how they're gonna execute that. The press conference itself is just it's gonna be at the Palladium, which is that's a spot in New York. That's gonna be enclosed. That's gonna be not free to the public. The fight itself, I don't know how they're gonna pull that off. We got to get some answers on that.
Yeah, I think there will be questions at the press conference, but nonetheless,
If they allow it, because
oh yeah.
sometimes they don't do that.
I was just thinking, like, just as a fan, like, I would never go to that. Like, I would just get too much social anxiety because, like, it's Times Square's packed, man. I don't even like being there, like, on a regular day.
I live here and I
Yeah.
never go to Times Square for that reason.
It's
I
just too
never
much.
go there. Like,
Imagine there's a fight with that lineup and it's free to the public. That's madness.
to be fair, the majority of New Yorkers are not going to know who any of these people are. Like even Teofimo Lopez. Like
That makes it worse.
Most people in Times Square are going to be like, "Who the fuck? What's happening? Is
that makes it
this
worse?
Is UFC? Though. What? This is oh, who's this? Devin who? Devin Haney. Oh, okay. I never heard of like. I'm going to be honest with you. Like people in New York, there are boxing fans in New York who will come out and all that type of shit. But the vast majority, New York is huge. New York City is huge. Most people in the city do not know who any of these people are. So,
well, we'll get to it tomorrow. Make sure to join us for
Look at
our
Foxy.
Let's see what
I gotta
Fox
take
said.
it for Ben versus Uwe.
Oh, Foxy, let us know. Okay,
are those good seats. What arena is that in? Also,
I don't know, but
it's at one. I think it's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, if I'm not mistaken, which is a soccer stadium that Spurs play at. And this fight, I'm not gonna lie, they've done a pretty good job promoting it.
Yeah,
the whole Chris Eubank putting the egg in Conor Benn's face after the whole steroid shit.
I like it.
I like Chris Eubank in that fight, not for nothing.
I do too, but I think Conor Benn has a lot to prove. But there's just storylines for it. So Foxy, we're not doing a post fight show for that fight, but drop some comments.
Are you sure? When does that fight? Do we know this far in advance?
I think we do actually. I think I'm not going to be in town, but
it's April 26th.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be in town. I think I'm doing something April 26th. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm going to a concert on April 26th. That's why I can't.
Who are you gonna see?
That's what I'm doing, huh?
Who are you gonna see?
It's that concert with like Fab and like Ja Rule and Nelly. It's like for old people, okay? It's for old people like myself.
Yeah, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, NFL played. Yeah, that's what
I think it's on the 26th.
Fab was at the fight and got a big ovation when they put him up on the screen. Big ovation. Yeah. There was like Jake Paul got booed by a lot of people, as you would imagine.
Well, it's Brooklyn. Of course, Fab would get the standing O.
Not standing O, but like he got a loud sort of ovation.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, yo, good to see that. PJ Tucker was there. He didn't get a reaction from the crowd. Neither did Amari Cooper.
Yikes.
Wendell Pierce was there too. Saw him. If you're a fan of The Wire or Suits.
Yeah.
Wendell Pierce.
Anyways, guys, Foxy, have a good time at Conor Benn and Chris Eubank. If we do, I'm pretty sure that's when the concert is, or it's the 24th. I could be wrong. Nonetheless, though, if we do a post-fight show, we'll let you guys know. But we are having a show tomorrow. So please join us tomorrow. We're going to break it all down. Thanks so much for rocking with us early this morning. Back-to-back shows. Look at us go, Bryan.
Yeah, back-to-back shows. We'll be back tomorrow night. Recap the presser.